Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on Arrow Season 6. I was about to say the Flash Season 6, but Arrow Season 6, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for Episode 6 of Arrow Season 6, otherwise entitled Promises Kept, otherwise known as the second part of the 2-episode Deathstroke story. Now before we get into anything else, let's actually watch the trailer.
Your son
We don't leave witnesses.
is dangerous.
Apple doesn't fall that far. I got you a little gift.
Oliver Queen.
It's time to collect a debt he owes you, Father.
Do it.
Slay!
Arrow, all new this Thursday at 9/8 Central on the CW.
So last episode, obviously that being the first part of the Deathstroke story, was pretty good. Obviously I say pretty good because the vigilante stuff wasn't that great. It was a bit disappointing in certain areas. Not going to go in depth with that because if you want to know what I thought about it, just watch my review yesterday because I spent like 3 minutes of that review going in on the vigilante stuff, so check that out if you're interested in that. But really the Deathstroke stuff I thought was really interesting, and it was a pretty cool reveal right at the end that Joe Wilson, obviously Slade's son, was actually the boss of the Jackals, this this mercenary terrorist group, whatever you want to call them. As it kept creeping on in that scene, you could sort of tell that maybe Joe was involved. I didn't really think he'd be the boss, but when you think about it, he is Slade's son. It would make sense that he'd want to be like in charge. He didn't want to be a follower. He wanted people following him. So it sort of makes sense that he would be the boss. But before we actually break down this trailer for episode 6, we will quickly go over the synopsis, which does reveal something pretty damn cool, which isn't in the trailer, which I'm sort of surprised by. But it is competing with Deathstroke, so I understand why it's not in the trailer, but let's go through the synopsis. But before we do that, be sure to let me know in the comments section down below what you're looking forward to most in this episode. I am expecting 2 answers, or a variety of 2 answers. So yeah, just leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And of course, if you do go on to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. As Slade continues to uncover clues about his son's last few years, Oliver makes a big decision. Meanwhile, the Green Arrow leads the team into battle against the Dragon, a villain who is stealing valuable tech in Star City. So obviously in that synopsis it does say Green Arrow. They're referring to John Diggle because technically he is the holder of the Green Arrow mantle at the moment. Obviously that's not going to last too long because we know the crossover is creeping up and Oliver will don the Green Arrow suit in that crossover. But the big thing to take from this synopsis before we move into anything from the trailer is the name drop of the Dragon, who is the new villain, the big bad for this season, who is otherwise known as Ricardo Diaz. Now in the comics, he's Ricardo Diaz Jr., otherwise known as Richard Dragon. He takes the Richard Dragon name from his master from the League of Assassins. There's a lot of stuff that they're not going to do in this season regarding the comic book version of this character, but they're going to mold it into this universe, in this world. They could have, of course, chucked in the League of Assassins, but they have to make it that he was there previously, and then it sort of doesn't make sense why no one had mentioned him before, and I don't really like it when shows like chuck someone into a environment where there was other characters that haven't mentioned that character before, might I say, choking up on all this confusion. So I'm happy that they're not sort of doing the League of Assassins, even though you think I would be wanting that. But I think they're going down the right path with this character. So essentially Ricardo Diaz, or the Dragon, I'm assuming the Dragon's going to be like his street name, so they won't call him Ricardo Diaz because that's not as threatening as the Dragon. So the Dragon will most likely be his street name, and how Green Arrow, or how Team Arrow, might I say, first comes to know him, and then as we move further into the season, we will, learn more about the Dragon and how he's actually called Ricardo Diaz, his past, how he ended up in this situation, and all of that. But yeah, it does say that he is a villain who is stealing valuable tech in Star City, so we know that Black Siren is working for Caden James, so I wonder if Black Siren or Caden James is mixed up with Ricardo Diaz, aka the Dragon, as well. Because he's stealing valuable tech, we do know that Black Siren stole the T-Sphere prototype in episode 1, and we did see that Black Ops group using things that look like T-Spheres back in episode 3, I think it was, or something like that. It was episode 3. So it'd be really cool if they all came like full circle, if you know what I mean, and everything was connected. So Caden James was connected with Ricardo Diaz, and like Black Siren's connected, all that Black Ops group is all connected. It would make sense if that's the path they're going down, so let's hope they go for that. But now to stuff from the trailer. So I guess the cool thing is to see Joe Wilson being a bit of a bad boy. He's killing people, he sees witnesses, they can't be witnesses, they've got to go. So it is going to be interesting to see how Joe got to this point? Was he trying to outdo his father, or was he just down this path, like he's just that type of person? Because how it sounds is like, from what they'd set up earlier in last episode, like, oh, Joe was working for the Australian Intelligence Service, went on a mission, things went bad, ended up in prison, and stuff like that. But it sounds like he might be like a rogue agent from the Australian intelligence, whatever, and he's, started the Jackals. So I think we're going to learn more about that next week and how he became the boss of this Jackals group. And I think that's going to be pretty interesting. Now, we do see that Joe actually wants Slade to kill Oliver. Now, I'm assuming why Joe is bringing all of this up and saying like, oh, it's to get back at him and revenge and stuff like that, is I'm assuming because we're going to get more Slade flashbacks in this episode, in next episode, or episode 6. But they're not going to be when Joe was young. They're going to be when Slade came back from Lian. So this Joe Wilson will most likely be in those flashbacks as well. So the present day actor who's playing Joe Wilson at the moment, he will probably be in those flashbacks. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. So what I'm guessing is that in those flashbacks, we'll see Slade struggling to get back to normal day-to-day life after returning from Lian, after Oliver stabbing him in the eye and stuff. So we're going to see Slade with his new eye patch. It's going to be new in these flashbacks, you would assume. And it's really about like how his marriage ended, how like his relationship with Joe ended. Like I'm assuming this would have been one of the last times, if not the last time, he would have seen Joe in those after he comes back from Lian, sorry. And then we'll most likely see the birth or the origin of Deathstroke, which is really exciting. I didn't mind the flashbacks in episode 5 because it really showed that Slade's work, like his life was his work. Like even when he had time to spend with his family and his son, he sort of used it as a cover to do his work. So it just showed what type of person Slade was. He was sort of dedicated to his trade. So in this episode, in episode 6, we're sort of going to see the effects of that, like how it's messed with his head. He's still going to be affected by Mirakuru. Boy, I'm excited because I think these flashbacks are going to be killer, literally. Now, following on from that, we do see Slade rising his sword. And I guess the big question that comes from this story is, well, is he going to kill Oliver? And I guess the answer to that is probably not, seeing that Oliver is the main star of this show and the main character. It's not the best decision to do that. I think some shows have done that and sort of felt the consequences. And I think it'd be sort of silly just to leave Diggle as the Green Arrow for the rest of the show. So, Oliver, I'm pretty sure you're safe. But one thing I did see a lot of people bringing up in the comments section for this promo or trailer was if Slade would actually kill his own son. Would he kill Joe? And that is an option. And in the synopsis, it does say that Oliver makes a big decision. I'm interested to see what that is. It's probably around whether he helps Slade or not, because I think Oliver will have to kill people if he's going to help Slade out in this situation. So I think that's the big decision he has to make here. But in regards to Joe, I think it's going to be a Slade versus Joe fight. I don't think they'll kill Joe. I just don't think they will kill, or that just don't think they'll make Slade kill Joe. Just because we do have Slade on, not necessarily a massively like big redemption arc, but on a redemption arc of sorts. And that can sort of sour the redemption arc if you kill your own son. So I don't think we're going to see that. And it's not going to be something where like Slade sticks to no more killing, because did you watch last episode, episode 5? He literally ran through that Jackals thing, killing everyone. So it'll be weird to say I'm not killing anyone from now on after just like literally murdering like 15 to 20 people. So I don't think Slade's on like a no killing thing. I just don't think he will kill his son. I think it's a bit of a, it'll just leave a sour taste in that redemption arc. Now, as I did mention earlier about the flashbacks, we'll most likely be getting flashbacks around Joe Wilson and how he ended up being in this situation, you know, the boss of this Jackals group in Kaznia, of all places. And then as well as Slade Wilson on his return from Lian, and him most likely constantly mentioning Oliver Queen's name, and Joe sort of getting that ingrained into his mind and thinking, okay, Oliver Queen equals a bad boy and we're going to kill him. But also Shadow is meant to be appearing in the flashbacks as well. We did see her in a trailer from like about 6 weeks ago. I'm not 100% sure how big her effect is going to be in this episode, but I'm assuming it's going to be very similar to, you know, last season. Was it last season or season 4 when Oliver was like trapped and Shadow appeared to sort of help him? And then also it's going to be like that with Slade. So Slade's going to be seeing Shadow, you know, maybe driving him a bit more crazy, or maybe it will be in like the same scene where maybe she's like encouraging him to become Deathstroke. That would be pretty cool if they made Shadow almost like the vision that Slade is having that sort of pushes him to fully becoming Deathstroke that we saw in season 2. I think that would actually be really good to see. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it. Let me know in the comments section down below if you agree with anything I've said or disagree. What do you think is going to go on with Joe Wilson this episode? Will he die? Are you looking forward to Richard Dragon? What do you think Shadow's effect is going to be on Slade's journey to becoming Deathstroke? Do you think she'll be like the final trigger point and he'll fully become Deathstroke after that? Just let me know in the comments section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.